It's great stuff with DJ Hilson. Muskegon, hope you're having a wonderful day. How you doing? Prosecutor DJ Hilson.
Good afternoon, world traveler. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. Good to be back home. Good to be back here in the 231.
Yeah, it's good to have you back in town. I've been following a little bit of your exploits here on Facebook, and I saw the fine portrait that Big Rob now has, and it actually makes him look better. Whoever did that did him a favor. That's for sure.
Yeah, shout out to this artist in Tanzania. He had 48 hours to do that, and he got it done in less than 48 hours. And I'm gonna post up a better copy of the image. But yeah, had an excellent vacation. Yes, unbelievable vacation.
Awesome.
I think I can do that every day. I've realized that I can vacation every day.
They call that retirement.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Woo. Okay. All right. So, DJ, it's been a couple weeks. I'm glad that things have kind of calmed down, right?
Yeah. It's kind of one of those unspoken, unwritten things that we try not to talk about. But certainly there seems to have been at least for right now, a cease in some of the violent activity, which I think we're all appreciative of. I will say that for the law enforcement community, we have been meeting on a somewhat regular basis. In fact, I've got a meeting with some folks tomorrow, and I can say without saying too much that it looks like, as far as some investigations are concerned, we could be moving in a pretty positive direction. Again, I'm going to know a little bit more tomorrow, but some of the updates that I've received really is positive. So we'll wait and see how that all turns out. But certainly I can't say enough about our law enforcement partners and the work and the jobs they're doing, just to kind of continue working the investigations that we have, and then thinking strategically and proactively on how we can help curb some of this. And my hat's off to the sheriff. I got to give a special shout out to Sheriff Poulin, who was courageous enough to go in front of our county board and ask for some money so that he could insert some patrols in the city of Muskegon and the city of Muskegon Heights. So he was able to accomplish that. And as I believe from last I talked to him, which was yesterday, I thought those were going to start this week. So I really appreciate all the extra effort. I mean, that goes a long way.
Did he get a 7-0?
7-0.
Did all of them vote for it?
Oh, yes. In fact, it's funny. It was a I'll say an emergency add-on. So he had to get 2/3 in order to get it on the agenda, and he was able to just get that. And then once it was on the agenda, it was a 9-0 unanimous vote.
Oh, it's 9. Oh, wow. Well, I got to send a shout out to Zach Lauren then. He voted for it.
I guess it's hard. It'd be hard to explain why you wouldn't vote for it. To the citizens of Muskegon County, why you wouldn't vote for an opportunity for some extra protection. That'd be a hard question to answer if you voted no.
Wow.
For sure.
Wow. Things are looking better.
From my standpoint, like I said, I think there are a lot of moving parts happening that are working towards making sure that this trend here continues. And there's no guarantee. Certainly, and we're doing everything on our end to send a very strong deterrent message. But I know there are other organizations out there that are really working hard to be more proactive in the community, to engage the community and increase that community awareness. And that, to me, that's the bigger piece here, is the community awareness and the community engagement. And the more that we have that, the more successful that we're going to be. And so I really appreciate efforts on all these fronts in order to maintain what really is something that Muskegon deserves, which is kind of peace and quiet.
Peace and quiet. People calling that silent observer line.
I'll be honest with you. I'd have to reach out to the chamber and see, but I guarantee you that I'm sure they're seeing an increase in that, and I hope so. I mean, the access to silent observer has never been easier, especially for it keeping up with today's technology through the app and through online as well as the phone. And so I'll have to get an update as to the volume of calls. But I did provide to the two chiefs door hangers. Originally, the idea was that if they went to a crime scene, they could hang the information of silent observer on doors as opposed to knocking on doors and talking to people. And so that seems to be an effective strategy. It gives people the opportunity to give information anonymously and not have to stand on their front porch talking to a police officer, which I know sometimes folks are a little leery of, and I can appreciate that.
Right. The last time we talked, you contribute some of the violence to gang violence. You still stand by that?
Absolutely. No, I still stand by that. I still stand by that. Nothing has really changed. No new information has really wavered my thought process on that and what we know up to this point. And so, certainly, trying to penetrate that aspect of it and work with our other partners in law enforcement, including the federal government. That's part of the long-term strategy here.
Wow. Are you seeing retaliation in the streets?
Well, I think early on, when it was really heating up, I think what you were seeing was some back and forth between some rival gang affiliated members, and that's what we were seeing. And so certainly they were, I guess, for lack of a better way to describe it, taking it out on each other, which again isn't a message that anybody appreciates and that anybody desires. And certainly, as I talk to the public, unfortunately, bullets don't have brains,
Right.
and just as much as you are trying to retaliate against somebody, which again is not the answer to the conflict, but it can easily strike and hurt somebody who's innocent and not part of any of this. And that to me is really the important piece here that we want to make sure that we protect. We protect those that are just trying to live their days in a lawful and ordinary fashion, and certainly that is forefront on our minds in the law enforcement community.
Wow. Do you believe that some of the violence some of the homicides might have come from people from out of state or out of town?
I don't know. I guess it's always a possibility, and I'm hoping that as some of this other stuff starts to unfold, some of the other things that we've been working on over the last couple of days unfolds, we may have some answers to those questions. So obviously, when you're investigating these things, anything is possible, and you try to track down the leads that are going to lead you in the right direction. And right now, I can say that I can't solidly say that there are outside influences here on these. I mean, there's nothing that strongly points to that, but it's never discounted, certainly.
Right. Right. What other things are you seeing in the community that is alarming to you?
Well, I mean, certainly we continue to deal with we continue to deal with the drug issue. I mean, that's really never gone away. The thing that really changes is what is the more prevalent drug in the community. And for a while it was heroin, and now I think over probably the last year or so, methamphetamine has made a surgence, if you will, in not only in our community but communities south of us too, and counties south of us. Methamphetamine has overtook heroin as far as seizures are concerned. And so, again, that's a constant battle that we continue to fight, both trying to, take care of the supply, but also the demand through certainly through enforcement, but also through working through other agencies like our recovery court and those other outside agencies that are working on trying to correct the addictive behavior. Because quite frankly, if we dry up the demand, then the supply will go somewhere else because the demand isn't here anymore. And so it's a two-front battle. And I just appreciate again all those folks that work on the front lines in those service provider agencies that really do a bang up job to try and help people work through those struggles. And not having being around it for all my career and now being deeper in it by my involvement in some of these treatment courts. These are very powerful forces working against people, and so I always make sure that I applaud those that continue to fight that battle. Not only the folks that are fighting that battle internally for themselves, but also those that are trying to help them.
We got some online comments, DJ. Bonita Threadgill says, I'm praying for our city and that people speak up to assist with solving these senseless crimes. You're right, bullets don't have the brains, nor do they care who they hurt or kill.
Amen to that.
And also, Will Robinson, to myself and others in the community, it seems that not too much is being done to investigate these murders. Is there a way to keep the community informed without jeopardizing your investigation?
Well, look, I mean, I can assure you, and assure everybody that's listening to this that these are being investigated every day. And I think, as I've talked about before, back in 2013 and 14, when we saw a spike in this type of activity, it was a conversation that I had with the upper brass of the Michigan State Police that led to the formation of our Muskegon Major Crime Initiative, which is made up of 3 to 4 investigators and a crime analyst from the Michigan State Police. That team has been in place since 13 and has been very integral in helping supplement the departments that are investigating these cases. So they are a supplemental team that's been working with Muskegon Heights and the city of Muskegon in all these investigations. And I see those guys in my office quite a bit over the last several months, as we also incorporate the investigative subpoena process, which is, I know we've talked about that before here on this show. Mm-hmm. That's a statutory, I guess, investigative tool that gives us as prosecutors the right to subpoena people, put them under oath, and start asking them questions about what they know and their role potentially in these particular crimes. And we've been using that since this began 2 and 3 months ago. So, it may seem like nothing is being done, and certainly the benchmarks are when people get arrested or people get charged. But I can assure all of you that these cases have been investigated every day, and we've been running folks through my office in the investigative subpoena process for the last several weeks, and ultimately, we're just hoping for that break, that door that opens that allows us to make charging decisions, and also put some solving on this. So I can appreciate the public, and again, the newspaper has really stopped reporting this kind of stuff. You don't see it a whole lot, but short of me coming on here and telling you everything that's going on, which would jeopardize everything that we've got going on, I like I said, I'm just as antsy as you all are, and I'm not a frontline investigator, and so my conversations with the chiefs and whatnot are always about, hey, where are we at? What are we doing, and how's it going? And again, I'm meeting with that group tomorrow because I felt it necessary that at our level, so at the supervisor level, the chiefs, myself, sergeant level, that we are all on the same page, that we all have the same information. Because when you've got different agencies working different things, sometimes the communication isn't all that great. And for me personally, I think it's important that we're all on the same page. We all have the same information. We're all working from the same playbook. And to me, that just spells for success. And so our first meeting is tomorrow here in my office, and we're going to meet every other week until these cases get solved and people get charged.
Will says, that's assuring. Thanks, DJ. We got a comment from State Representative Terry Sabo, also former police officer. I have a lot of confidence in our law enforcement professionals, including the prosecutor. I stand ready to assist from my position as state representatives wherever and whatever they need to keep our communities safe.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We had a really nice meeting on last Friday with some mayors, Representative Sabo, Senator Bumstead, some chiefs, really looking at how the community and certainly the state level folks can partner up and work with us on the law enforcement side, and work in the community side of things. And it was a nice show of again collaborative spirit, which uh, in Muskegon, that's second to none. I would challenge any other county that has the same collaborative spirit across the county, from east to west and north to south, that Muskegon has. It's quite amazing, and I appreciate knowing that Senator Representative Sabo is ready to act. And having called on him before, I know this isn't just lip service. He actually does what he says he's going to do, and I appreciate that. It's nice to know that at the state level, we've got folks that we can reach out to and say, "Hey, look, I need this. I need your help. I need your connection, whatever it is." He's there and ready to do it, and he's done it. So thanks.
Will Robeson says that State Representative Terry Sabo also glad to know that there's eyes on the situation on the state level. DJ, we know the solution don't just all fall on the shoulders of law enforcement. This problem is a community problem. It is a family problem. What are your suggestions? What should we be doing? What should parents be doing right now?
I think, and again, I'm no expert on this. I've got three kids of my own, and I learned early on when the first kid was born that they don't give you a manual when you walk out of the hospital and say, "Here you go. This is going to be the answer to all your questions and all your concerns, and this is the how-to." But certainly, gleaning from my own experience growing up, and understanding and recognizing the importance of what role parents can play, and it's not really being a friend; it's being a parent. It's setting those boundaries, and it's sticking to those boundaries, and it's making sure that you're well aware of what your son or daughter is doing, who they're hanging out with, being involved. Quite frankly, one of the things that I love is being involved in my kids' school. I love the fact that I got to coach middle school baseball this year, and be involved in that fashion. I love the fact that for certain events that I go and I volunteer. For example, we do fish fries, and I volunteer making the onion rings, and just being involved in what my kids are doing, and what they're experiencing. And it's a benefit. It's a twofold benefit. One, I'm helping out the school that my kids go to, but I get to stay involved in my kids' lives. I get to be at the sporting events and watch them, and coach them. I get to do all that. And again, that doesn't make me certainly parent of the year, because I believe me, I've made many mistakes over the years of being a dad. But I think what it does send is this idea that I'm keeping tabs on what my kids are doing. I know where they are. I know who they're hanging out with, and I know that I've tried to instill in them this idea of responsibility, accountability, and consequences. And when I hear stories, whether it be on a national level, local level, of kids, teenagers being out at 2 o'clock in the morning, that bothers me, because that just says that there's something missing there. There's a piece missing.
Right.
And again, you can't put a lock and key on kids 24 hours a day, but you can certainly create an atmosphere that is going to make a decision like that to be a poor one, on the home front. And I'm not, again, given my experience in a lot of things we've done, from truancy all the way through here, it's a struggle.
Wow.
And that it's certainly, parents need help, and there are certainly a lot of agencies that are out there to help. It's just a matter of reaching out, and then following through.
Wow. So unfortunately, here we have a post from Carrie, who says, "Unfortunately, we can't control what our kids do when they walk out the door. I lost my son to senseless gun violence in January."
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's no bubble. You can't put a protective bubble regardless of when your kids walk out the door. I mean, having a 17-year-old son who
Wow.
drives.
Wow, Trevor. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, yeah, it's amazing how time flies. But having a 17-year-old son that drives and worrying about him every single time that he's not at home, and it's tough. It's tough being a parent.
It is.
With you add that stress to all the other stresses in life that you're dealing with. It's tough. But I rely on the idea that you know we've done our best as parents to bring our kids up the right way, to teach them how to make good decisions, and quite honestly, my faith plays a lot into this. I mean, I pray for my kids' safety every night, every day, and I got to rely on that, because to me, those are the things that'll keep me from not sleeping at night. And believe me, I have enough to think about, and wake up in the middle of the night for. I really don't want it to be my kids.
Wow. Wow. Are there victims advocacies programs here?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my office is funded through a lot of state grants, and we have several victim advocates that do a variety of things here in the office. We're blessed with organizations like Every Woman's Place, that really helps women who have experienced violence and trauma in their life. Is the agency that helps kids deal with the trauma associated with abuse, as well as the investigative arm. So there are a lot of advocates, if you will, for victims here in Muskegon County, and not just planted here in the prosecutor's office. It's very satisfying knowing that we have all these strong partners out there that we can lean on, and look for assistance from. That to me, again, that really gives us a very strong leg up when it comes to this kind of stuff.
We got 6 minutes left. The DJ got a lot of stuff he got to do today, family. So if you got a question for DJ, you can type it in if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, or you can call us, or you can text it in at 231-722-8338. It's been around, what, 4 or 5 homicides this year. Have any of those perpetrators been arrested yet?
Yes, we had an incident in January, in the East Park Manor area. We have one person arrested in that. We've got another warrant out for another person who's fled the state, and we're actively searching for that person. Um, Other than that, the other ones, again, the as I indicated before, the investigations had started out slow, then really kind of picked up some speed, and I'm hoping, in the very near future, we're going to have some information that may lead to some fruitful things for us. But it's too early to tell, and it's really kind of reading the tea leaves a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident in my conversations with investigators that we have a good idea of who the players are. But again, having an idea and knowing that is far different than proving it. And the proving
Right.
it part is the tough part, because that requires witnesses, that requires some physical evidence that helps corroborate what witnesses say. And it's the witness part that we're struggling with. We don't have people that we believe have information coming forward and telling us what they know.
Jamie Green, once again, thank you for this conversation. And Miss Carey says, thank you for moving so quickly on my son's case. Do you remember the case?
Well, it's the only case I know in January, so I absolutely know the case. And that one, again, that was with the assistance of our major Muskegon Major Crime Initiative. Those guys worked with Muskegon Heights, and really did a heck of a job putting some stuff together, and get some forensic evidence, and leads to some fruitful conversations with persons of interest. And yeah, we that one was the way that it, you wish every investigation would go. So you're welcome, and we're going to continue to move forward on it.
Wow. Anything else you want to share, DJ? But I got 1,000 questions. So anything that you
No,
want
listen,
to
I know, and I apologize for the short brevity here. I've got another meeting at 5:30, but taking away from a majority of what we've been talking about today, I will tell folks that we kind of talked about this off air, and I'm going to know more tomorrow morning. But with the lifting of a lot of the mask mandates as of today, a lot of the agencies that govern, what happens at businesses and certainly what happens here in the courthouse have come out with new amended guidelines. And so tomorrow morning, we typically meet on Monday, but we're meeting tomorrow as a group with the judges and the administrators and myself to kind of figure out now what it looks like. And it could very well be that the county building is going to be back to what it was. If you've been down here over the last year and a half, it's been a health screener, temperatures, answering questions. And, given what I've seen over the last 24 hours here in some communication with all these agencies, it could look very different at the end of this week and the start of next week. So we'll see. I mean, I'm never going to presume anything, especially when I'm dealing with judges. You just never know what they're going to do. But they call this meeting for a reason, because typically we don't meet on Wednesday. We usually meet on Mondays. And so we'll see what happens tomorrow. But, it's a sign, I guess, that, we're on the right side of this pandemic, which is really good. I mean, it's nice to see that we're going to be able to at least somewhat get a sense of normalcy, whatever that new normal will be. But I tell you, I'm going to enjoy this in-person meeting, and I haven't done too many in-person meetings. And so getting to that point again, where we're actually physically in the same room, it's a whole different conversation than over video for sure.
I think I got time to get this last question in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last year, there was a homicide at one of the hotels, and Judge Lattice Hoops let the person out that was charged with homicide.
Yep.
I think you had a pretty strong case against this young man.
Yep.
And let him out on bond, reduced the bond, let him out on bond, I guess. And then eventually he got shot and killed.
Yeah.
Terrible incidents. How can we prevent that from happening? Did Judge Hoots ever come to you and say, I made a mistake on this?
Well, personally, no, never did. And again, I think really what it boils down to is everybody should be held accountable. Certainly when it comes to myself and my staff and the things that my office does, we're accountable for the decisions we make, the actions we take, and ultimately that is my philosophy, that if we make a mistake, we're going to own up to our mistake. In fact, I know personally, this was a few years ago, but I mean, this was very public. It was on News 8, where I told the reporter asking the questions that, my office had made a mistake, and we were going to fix that mistake. And we ultimately did. But I owned it. I'm not going to run from it. I mean, you can't. In this day and age, transparency is everything. And so, certainly I really think one of the things that I think folks forget is that when it comes to things like bond setting and bond conditions, that's the role of the judge. That's the judiciary. We as lawyers can argue for things, but ultimately the judge is the one that imposes that. And they need to be held just as accountable as we are in decisions that are made. And so I think, certainly folks can pay attention to that and certainly make an impact by writing letters and saying, when you know that somebody who you feel is a danger to the community is arrested, that you want the judge to make the right decision as it relates to bond in that case. And to me, that's not an unreasonable request, because again, it's the citizenry of this community that deserves to be protected and deserves the peace and quiet.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Was this crime on video? Some of it on video evidence?
It was all on video.
All on video. Yeah. So there was no doubt.
Yeah, there was no doubt.
And she lets him out.
Yeah.
All right. I know it's 5:31, so I know you got to go. We'll talk about this. And you're right. She needs to make this right. I cannot envision her allowing her murder to be released in North Muskegon. And it's going to be real. Norton Shores. I can't see that happening, and it's on video. All right, thanks, DJ.
Listen, PA, as always, it's a pleasure. I really appreciate certainly the nice comments and the questions from the community. And we're in this fight together, and I can assure you all that I do not like to rest on my laurels on this, and that's why I have these meetings with law enforcement. That's why my office is so actively engaged, is because that I think that people deserve that of this community. They deserve it. And I don't like to lose. I'll just tell you that. I just
Right.
don't like to lose. And whether that's a weakness or a fault, I don't know. I haven't figured that out.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. None of us like to lose.
I don't like to lose. And so we will fight until the bitter end. And so I appreciate all the support. And I just keep praying that we're going to, continue on this peaceful trend, and we'll continue to fight on, I guess, for lack of a better way to describe it. But thanks, PA. It's good seeing you. Welcome back to the motherland. And it's great to have you back in town, my friend.
Yes, sir. You too, man. Have a blessed day. Thanks,
You
DJ.
too.